All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're looking at something huge happening in the world of construction. And I don't mean just a few small tweaks. We're talking about a complete reinvention from the ground up of how we design and build our world. And it's all being driven by a new kind of AI. So let's get into it.
Yeah, that quote right there, that's the heart of a really provocative piece from AC Magazine. The argument is basically this. The core technology that runs the entire construction industry today, BIM, well, it's basically hit a dead end. That's a huge claim, right? So let's dig in and see what that actually means.
Okay, so before we can even talk about the future, we've got to understand what's wrong with the present. And we're not talking about a few missing bells and whistles in the software. No, the problem is much deeper. It's like a crack in the very foundation of how we design things today.
So just so we're all on the same page, what even is BIM? Well, BIM, that's Building Information Modeling, it's the industry standard. Think of it as the master 3D blueprint for any modern building. It has everything: walls, windows, pipes, wires, you name it. It's basically the digital twin of a building before the real thing even exists.
Okay, and this is where we get to the real heart of the problem. Today's BIM, it was really just designed to help people make 2D drawings faster. That's its origin. So the model shows you the what, the final outcome, but it has no idea about the why. All the reasons, all the design choices, the actual intent, that's all still stuck inside the designer's head. And for an AI, that's a total black box. The AI can't make smart decisions about the design because it has no clue what the original goals were.
And look, this isn't some science fiction problem that's decades away. The article argues the tipping point is happening right now. While architecture is kind of stuck using the same old tools, some parts of engineering are taking this massive leap forward. And that's creating this huge, totally unsustainable imbalance.
And just look at these examples. You've got companies like Augmenta designing 25 times miles of super complex electrical wiring for a data center, and they're doing it overnight. You've got others creating building frames that literally recalculate their own strength in real time if the architect moves a wall. I mean, these aren't just pretty pictures. These are complete, ready-to-build engineering plans. And this leads to a really weird situation, right? How can the architecture take a year and a half to figure out when the entire engineering part can be solved in a single day? The math just doesn't add up anymore. So, if the old way is broken, what's the solution? Well, the article says the answer is a whole new type of AI. One that doesn't just chat with you, it actually does things. It's time to talk about AI agents.
Now, it is so important to get this next part right. This is not like ChatGPT. A conversational AI like that is reactive. It just sits there and waits for you to ask it something. Agentic AI is totally different. It's proactive. You give it a goal, and it goes to work all by itself. It can read data, understand it, and actually change it to hit that target. Think of it less like a helpful assistant and more like a persistent member of your team that works on the project 24/7.
And this just completely flips the old way of working on its head. The human's job is no longer to manually draw every single wall and pipe. Instead, your job is to define the intent. You set the high-level goals, the constraints, the budget. Then you unleash a team of specialist AI agents. They go off and explore literally thousands of options for the structure, the electricity, the plumbing, all while making sure every single option follows the rules you set. And what do you get back? A set of fully coordinated, buildable solutions for you to review. Your job shifts from being a producer to being a decider. So yeah, this is way more than just a software update. We're talking about a total rewrite of the rulebook for the entire construction industry. And the implications, well, they're going to be massive for everyone. And get this, the timeline for this change is pretty stark. The article says we're in the augmentation phase right now, where firms are just starting to play with this stuff. But by the end of this decade, smart generation could be mainstream. And by 2035, this whole agent BIM thing could just be the normal way of doing things. I mean, that is an incredibly fast transformation for such a huge industry. You know what's one of the first things to go? That old, rigid, stage-by-stage design process. Where you freeze the design at the concept stage, then move to the next stage? That whole waterfall model only makes sense when getting feedback takes a long time. But when you can get an engineering solution back in seconds, the whole project becomes this live, constantly evolving thing. It's not a series of handoffs anymore. It's a living system.
And the effects of this go way, way beyond just the construction site. This shift sends out these massive ripple effects that could totally reshape our laws, our economy, and even who owns the data that builds our world.
And this is where things get really complicated and, frankly, a bit messy. The technology forces us to ask some really tough questions, like, how do you even send a bill when weeks of work get done in a few hours? If an AI messes up and the building has a flaw, who's legally responsible? And here's a big one. Who owns the data?
Will you own your own designs, or will you have to pay the software company a fee every single time your AI agent needs to look at them? The consensus is that humans have to stay in the loop here, but our jobs will change, more towards managing risk and making those final calls.
And that really brings us to the final and I think most powerful idea from the whole article. Right now, so many firms are racing to get better at the old way of working, perfecting their templates, streamlining their current process. But what if they're just getting really, really good at something that's about to become totally obsolete? The biggest danger isn't being left behind by technology. It's investing all your energy in a boat that the tide has already left high and dry on the shore.